got to be honest, Christians, we have a very bad reputation when it comes to how we approach not just this topic, but the gay community. As a matter of fact, there's a book called Unchristian. And they interviewed young Americans aged 16 to 29, and they asked, what do you think about Christians? They asked some positive things and some negative things. By far, it was all negative. From the bottom, Christians, we are viewed to be confusing, not accepting, boring, insensitive, out of touch, too political, old-fashioned, hypocritical, judgmental. I mean, why would you want to go to church after all that? Guess what's at the very, very top? Anti-homosexual. Look at those percentages. 91% of those not raised in the church. That's about everyone. Pretty sad. Almost everyone. What about our own youth? Don't we teach in church to our youth, love the sinner, hate the sin? Not according to this survey. According to the survey, 8 out of 10 of our own youth believe that we are anti-homosexual. We are against gay people. That is wrong. The gospel of Jesus Christ is not against people. It's for people. It's for all people. It's an invitation for anyone to turn from their sins and turn to Jesus, but it's still for people, amen? But so should we, my friends, be for people. But unfortunately, people's perception is their reality. So how can we do a better response? How can we do better at engaging not only in this topic, but our loved ones and friends in the gay community? There's many ways that I could approach this. I could approach this looking at what's going on maybe in public policy or what's going on in government and in the laws. And there's a culture war raging. I mean, you guys are neighbors to us in America. I mean, we're just like, there's a war going on internally. And then we have, I could approach this maybe looking at this just like a sociological, anthropological issue or a developmental sociological framework. But I want us this morning to use as our foundation the gospel of Jesus Christ, the good news that we are sinners before a holy God. Jesus Christ died for us. He gave us new life, and we will be glorified in the last day with him. That's what it should be our framework. So how do we do that? 4 things. First of all, we need to be convicted about our own sin. Before we do anything, we need to make sure we have the right attitude. We need to be convicted about our own sin. When I lived as a gay man many years ago, I felt Christians were telling me that somehow gays and lesbians deserved a hotter place in hell. Jesus had to hang on the cross a little bit longer for gays and lesbians. No, it's not the truth. This is not the worst sin. It's sin, but it's not the worst sin. But we often treat it like that. People say it's an abomination. True, but if you also believe Proverbs, which I do, I'll just let you know, I believe the whole Bible. Proverbs 6 says, there are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are abomination. You know what he's listing there? Things like lying, cheating, pride, dissension. So when was the last time your friend was a bit prideful and you say, you are abomination? Maybe we should. And when we do that, we would not trivialize sin that so grieves the heart of God. And I know, especially when I talk to conservative Christians, there's sometimes people who will say, okay, yeah, I know I'm supposed to be loving, but I just can't help it. When I see a gay couple or when I think about 2 men in bed together, it just grosses me out. I think it's disgusting. It's unnatural. As if we can have natural sins and unnatural sins. Sin is sin. It disgusts me. And I want to say back to that person is, just remember that that's just a reminder, that feeling of disgust that you have. Because that feeling of disgust that you have for someone else's sin is just a fraction of what God feels when he looks at your own sin. Because when we think in that way, that our sin is just as odious, it is just as odious in God's eyes than someone else's sin, that should humble us. And I think humility is always a great place to start because at the end of the day, I want to lead people to Christ. And that's never done through a holier-than-thou attitude.